Hey guys, I'm Pam, and on this episode of Cooking at Pam's Place, we are going to make chewy, soft and chewy granola bars. They are my favorite, guys. And before we get started, let me just go over what we'll need. Now, I know this looks like it's a ton of stuff, but these are easy and simple. And what I like about them best, they're customizable. So you want to have some Old Fashion oats. Now, the ingredients that you put in are really your choice. But for me, I'm using some ocean spray dried cranberries. I'm using some sun-made raisins. I'm using Nestle Toll House chocolate chunks. And I'm using some walnuts. You can use seeds or almonds, pecans. You don't have to put the raisins in. You can do anything you want. This is absolutely customizable. So the first thing we want to do, guys, let me set this aside, is give our walnuts a rough chop. These are half walnuts, but we don't want a big chunk of walnuts in our granola bars like that. So I'm gonna set these things aside a little bit. I have a pan over here. You just need any pan that you can toast your oats and nuts in. So we just want to pour our oats in, and I will have all the ingredients and measurements and things like that down in the description. Now you just want to give your walnuts a good rough chop. You don't need to be really small, and they're easy to chop. And almonds or whatever nuts you're using, if they're whole, you want to give them a little chop, guys. Put them into kind of like bite-sized pieces. That would be best. These are absolutely amazing. They're also good for take-along, and they will keep for at least a week in an airtight container. If you're like me, mine don't last a week. No, they do not last a week. Okay, so that's good enough. It doesn't have to be that much. We're gonna just dump these in here with our oats. Just like that. Mix it up with you. Take your hands and mix it up. We are going to toast the oats and nuts together in our oven, 350 degrees. Total probably about 8 minutes, but we're going to do it about 5 minutes. Then we're going to go in and give it a stir. So let's get these in the oven. Now in a small saucepan, we are going to go ahead and add our butter and get it melted. This is about 5 tablespoons of butter, a teaspoon of vanilla flavoring, a pinch of kosher salt, our brown sugar, and our honey. Now guys, whenever you're using honey, if you just take a paper towel that's oiled and run it across your container for your honey, it will keep the honey from sticking. Comes right out. Just want to heat this and stir it over low to medium heat until the butter has melted and the sugar is dissolved. Make sure after about 5 minutes you go in and you stir your nuts and oats. Okay guys, we are all out of the oven, and guys, these pot holders I'm using, it's really important when you're dealing with hot things to have some good pot holders, because this is a glass pan, and so therefore it's very hot, and I need to pour these in here, and so I've got to hold it with one hand. These pot holders were sent to me by Sugelary. They can withstand up to 500 degrees, so I know my hands are protected. They're awesome, guys, and I'm going to leave a link down below in the description so that you guys can check them out too if you want to. They were nice enough to send me these pot holder sets to try out. Set that aside because we're done with that. To our oats and nuts, and give it a good stir and mix it well. Make sure you get all the love out of the bottom of your pan, guys. And then we're going to go ahead and pour in our mixture. These are fantabulous. Like I said, they can withstand up to 500-degree heat, so they are Pam's Place approved. Okay, guys, sit those right there. Let's grab our pot. Now we're going to go in. It's still nice and hot. I actually set it over on the stove for a minute out of my way, but it's still nice and hot. This is our butter mixture. So we're going to pour our butter mixture into here. Now you want to mix this up and stir it really, really well. After we get this butter mixture mixed in really well, you want to let it set again for about 5 minutes. Okay, so we have cooled a little bit here, so we're going to now go in with our fruit. Again, I have raisins and cranberries. I've combined them all together so that I can just dump them in. And we're also going in with our chocolate. Now, the chocolate will probably melt some, and that's a good thing because it's going to be part of the glue that holds the granola bars together. So you don't mind if the chocolate melts a little bit. And we'll be adding some more in as well. And this is what it should look like when it's all combined before we actually put it into our dish to let it set. Okay, guys, so now we are just going to pour our mixture into our prepared pan. Remember, we put foil on it, and we also sprayed it with cooking spray. My, this smells amazing. Oh my goodness. Now this is where I guess the most important part comes into play. You need to press this down very, very firmly. You can either use wet fingertips, which I will do that when I'm pressing the last of the chocolate down. The firmer you press this down, the more your bars will stay intact and together. So do not be afraid to press, guys. Don't be, I know you're gonna feel like, oh my goodness, am I pressing too hard? No, you're not pressing too hard. Try to get it even going across the top as well. And the reason you want wet fingers is because, and I have a little bowl of water here, as you guys can see. Wet fingers is because otherwise it's gonna stick to your hands. And we don't want that. And you don't want your fingers dripping wet either, because you don't want to make your granola soggy. I think we've got it pressed down enough. And look at that. Okay, now the last thing we're going to do, let me rinse my fingers off here. Sprinkle a few chocolate chips right over the top here. Now again, these are chocolate chunks that I've crushed a little bit. You can use mini chocolate chips, you can use peanut butter chips, you can use whatever you want. Remember, it's customizable. Wet your fingers again, and we need to press this chocolate down into it. It's going to lay on top. It won't melt, but you need to make sure it's securely on top, where when it sets, it holds on to the granola. What we need to do, guys, is cover this, and we're going to place it in the refrigerator for approximately 2 hours, or I should say for at least 2 hours. You do want to cover it tightly. Okay guys, we're letting it set for 2 hours. Okay guys, they have cooled in the refrigerator for a couple of hours, and then they have cooled on my counter for about another hour. So now we're going to take them out and get them cut into bars. This is how it looks coming out of the refrigerator. So I'm going to just lift this up because we have to take it off of the foil first. Set this aside. So before I cut it, I don't want to leave it on the foil while I cut it, but I want to make sure it comes off the back here. And that's why you spray it, so it won't stick or anything like that. And guys, down in the description, I have a link to another channel called Inspired Taste. And they inspired me to do this recipe. So their link is down in the description. Check them out. Okay, so we're good. Just want to make sure it's going to lift up, as you guys can see, lifting up really well. So I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to try to do this as evenly as possible. Now, this is actually a brownie cutter, and this is a pastry scraper cutter thingamajigget. I don't really know what you call it. So I'm going to cut it down the middle first. Up at least so you guys can see it real good. Then I'm going to get these plated up so we can do a little taste test. Make sure this is cut all the way through here. There we go. And there you have it, guys. We have our granola bars. Isn't that amazing? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to get these plated up or sat up over here, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, we are all done, and here they are. We have nice, soft, chewy granola bars. And guys, I would love it if you all would come over and hang out with me and connect with me on my Facebook group, Cooking at Pam's Place. Delicious, delicious. Not too sweet. Soft and chewy. Amazing. I really love this, guys. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me in my kitchen today. And there'll be another video at the end of this one for just making granola cereal. So be sure to check that one out too. And I will see you next time. The good Lord willing and the creek don't rise.